PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan came back to work about 10 days ago and last night sent a memo to his players regarding the state of the tour and, among other topics, the rolling back of golf ball distances. Some of the key points from that memo: the PGA Tour has said they are not able to support the proposed golf ball rollback by the USGA and R&A, and there is widespread and significant belief that the proposed rule is not warranted, not in the best interest of the game. Also, the tour will create a player benefit program, in part to reward players who stayed with the PGA Tour instead of joining Live Golf. And there will be a third-party special advisor that will keep players informed on the continuing negotiations between the tour and the Public Investment Fund. Let's welcome in Rex Hoggard. He was all over this story last night. Rex, a couple of key points in the memo in a moment, but do you read this as Jay Monahan trying to get back into the good graces of his players?
100% Wade. If you go back just a month ago when the framework agreement was announced, one of the biggest pushbacks, at least initially, was the idea that this was negotiated in secret. There was no input whatsoever from the player directors, the player advisory council, and that bugged a lot of people. Go back to that first player meeting. It was in Canada. I mean, the vitriol coming towards the tour, specifically Jay Monahan, it was very, very real. And I think the PGA Tour has done as good as they can to respond to that. And that's what last night's memo was. It was just 2 pages, but it covered a lot of territory. And one of the things I wanted to point out is it actually created a new job for Jason Gore. We all know Jason. He was a PGA Tour player, PGA Tour winner, worked for the USGA, and now they've essentially created a new job for him. He's Executive Vice President, Chief Player Officer, and that's direct response to, let's call it, distrust that the players now have towards the PGA Tour. They may not like Jay Monahan or the Tour, but everybody likes Jason Gore because he is one of them. So I think that goes a long way. And you also pointed out the third-party special advisor. Now, that's going to be a third-party special advisor specifically to the player directors and the player advisory council. Now, this person is going to come from a company called the Rhine Group. And if you go back to last year's meeting at the BMW Championship, that person was in on those meetings, so it's clearly someone the players are comfortable with.
Maybe the biggest news in the memo is that the PGA Tour is now out definitively against the proposed golf ball distance rollback.
It really is. I think the MLR has been an issue for players all along, and you could almost put this in the conversation that you and I just had. It's a member-driven organization, and every player I've spoken to really the last 6 months about this has been against it for a lot of different reasons. Some of them are personal, some of them are professional, but you get an idea of how much that meant to the players when the PGA Tour was willing this early in the process, that the comment period's not over, but for them to essentially come out publicly and say that they're against it, it shows you how this is going to play out. Now, it is going to be interesting because you could end up with a scenario. We heard Martin Slumbers just last week at the Open Championship. We heard Mark Wan at the U.S. Open last month talking about the option of not doing anything is not an option. So you can imagine those two parties are going to come to a head on this eventually. There is some wording in there that I think is important in the memo last night. It said the tour is not able to support as proposed. So I would expect there'd be some sort of negotiating.
When we first heard about the proposed PGA Tour Public Investment Fund partnership last month, one of many questions was, players who stayed loyal to the PGA Tour, would they be compensated or somehow made whole? Does this memo begin to answer that question?
It does. It essentially creates a committee. It creates a committee for that, the players who stayed loyal to the PGA Tour, for them to, one of the ways I've heard it put is to be made whole, however it is you want to talk about that. And it also created a committee, it's called player discipline. And that's how the players who join Live could possibly be welcomed back to the PGA Tour. Now, the one that's fascinating right now, or interesting to most players, is how the players who remain loyal will be made whole. If you look at just on the surface, you're talking about the Rory McIlroys, the Xander Schauffele's, the Patrick Cantlays. It seems it's pretty easy for you to quantify exactly how much they may have gotten from Live Golf. But I was speaking with a couple of player agents this morning about this, and go back to early last year, even before Live Golf even played an event. I was told that Live Golf reached out to the top 100 players in the world at the time. Now, that doesn't mean that they were given offers, but they were certainly approached, and they were asked about the idea of joining Live Golf. You get an idea of how complicated this is going to be if we start talking about finding a way to compensate 100 players.
All right, Rex, thanks very much. Rex Hoggard reporting on this developing story, the memo that came out late yesterday. And as a matter of fact, you have to think not every PGA Tour player has even seen the memo yet, but Amy Rogers was able to speak with a couple of players at the 3M Open who did have a chance to take a look.
Did you read the memo sent from Jay Monahan in the tour? And what did you think of it, I guess, in general, the points talked about in there?
Yeah, I would say the main thing is I love that the PGA Tour is taking a stand on the rollback of the golf ball. I think that that's important and setting a precedent that moving forward, hopefully, you know, my opinion has always been that the PGA Tour, you know, we should have our own rule book on the PGA Tour and we should abide by those. So seeing that they're taking a stand when it comes to rolling the ball back, I thought that that was one of the main things I got from the memo.
I saw it late last night before I went to bed. I read it. Listen, I'm very happy that Jay's back. You know, I think we all respect Jay and understand he's done a tremendous job for the PGA Tour in his tenure as commissioner. I'm a massive fan of Jay. I know he cares a lot about the players. He cares a lot about this tour. And sometimes that can get lost. People can forget about that. And at the end of the day, he wants to do what's best for the players in the tour, and that's what he's relayed to me since he's come back. And at the end of the day, being more transparent is what we all would like out here. Understand that they always can't be transparent to the fullest effect because there's just things you just can't, you know, tell us right away. Things aren't done, deals aren't done, you know, frameworks, stuff like that is still in the early stages. And so it's a step in the right process for the guys out here who, you know, felt a little hurt by, you know, the way things went down. So kudos to Jay and to the PGA Tour to, you know, taking a step forward and you know, trying to be more transparent going forward. And like I said, that's what they've mentioned to us, and that's what they want to do. And they obviously want to get our input because at the end of the day, you know, we are a part of the tour. I don't think it's a member-run organization. I've said that many times. I think it's a member input tour, but we're a part of the tour, and they want to make sure that our voices are heard as well.